Welcome to today's episode of Places, People, Purpose. During our last program, we visited Malaga, one of the oldest cities in the world, located in the south of Spain. Our next place to discover is the city of Cordoba. But before we do that, let's take a look at the region of southern Spain called Andalusia, because there is some history that will be helpful in understanding the architecture and other unique aspects of this region and its cities. I think you're going to love this journey. Some of the earliest people in Andalusia were the Iberians, but where the Iberians came from and how they got there is not definitively known. Some believe they crossed the Straits of Gibraltar from northern Africa, while others believe they came from other areas of Europe via the eastern end of the Pyrenees and proceeded down the Mediterranean coast. As we learned during our Malaga podcast, Andalusia's seaboard was extensively settled by the Phoenicians, who strongly influenced the Iberians. After the Phoenicians came the Celts, who moved south across Europe and into Andalusia around 800 BCE. By 600 BCE, the Greeks were establishing trading ports along its shore. By the year 500 BCE, the Carthaginians had colonized southern Spain. The Carthaginians were of Phoenician descent, and Carthage was a seaside suburb of Tunisia's capital, Tunis. Tunis was once the head of the Carthaginian Empire, which ultimately fell to Rome. In their struggle against Carthage, the Romans invaded the Iberian Peninsula and soon transformed Andalusia into one of their richest and best organized colonies, producing olive oil and wine for exportation to Rome. After the collapse of the Roman Empire, Andalusia was attacked by successive waves of barbarian tribes coming from northern Europe, with the eventual dominance of the Visigoths. The Visigoths were a Germanic people who were influential in the declining years of the Western Roman Empire and during much of the early Middle Ages. They attacked Rome in 410 CE and established the powerful Visigothic kingdom and reigned over the Iberian Peninsula until the incursion of the Moors. One of the most significant developments in Andalusian history was in 711 CE, when a group of North African Muslims crossed the Strait of Gibraltar and conquered most of the Iberian Peninsula, which consisted of modern-day Spain and Portugal. Known as al-Andalus, the region became a prosperous cultural and economic center known for great cultural and scientific achievements. The Moors made the region their home for 8 centuries and permanently marked it with their cultural legacy, signs of which are still visible in monuments such as the Mosque of Cordoba and the Alhambra Palace in Granada. Over several centuries, various Christian kingdoms in the northern part of the Iberian Peninsula gradually advanced southward, retaking territory from the Muslim rulers. What is referred to as the Reconquista culminated in 1492, when the Catholic monarchs Ferdinand and Isabella took the last stronghold of the Moors, Granada and the Alhambra Palace. This event marked the end of Muslim rule in Andalusia. We won't be talking about the city of Granada in great detail, so I need to take a few minutes to tell you about the Alhambra, because it so perfectly and beautifully captures a part of the region's history and culture. The Alhambra, which means the Red Fortress in Arabic, is a living relic of the past, offering a glimpse into the opulence and cultural fusion of the Nasrid dynasty. The story of the Alhambra begins in the mid-13th century, when Muhammad I, the first monarch of the Nasrid dynasty, decided to build a royal palace on the Sabika Hill. Over the next 2 centuries, the complex underwent several expansions and renovations under the reigns of different Nasrid rulers. During this period, the Alhambra became not only a symbol of power and prestige, but also a center of cultural exchange and innovation. After the Catholic Reconquista of Granada in 1492, Ferdinand and Isabella chose to preserve the Alhambra as a symbol of Moorish architecture, and this decision has allowed the world to enjoy this exquisite masterpiece in its original form. Within the Alhambra, the general life, which refers to a summer palace and garden complex, is a serene oasis of greenery and water features. Visitors can wander through beautiful courtyards adorned with fountains, cypress trees, and fragrant flowers. The Alcazaba is the fortress portion of the Alhambra, which boasts impressive defensive walls, towers, and breathtaking panoramic views of Granada. Arguably the most famous part of the Alhambra, the Court of Lions, is a mesmerizing courtyard featuring a central fountain supported by 12 white marble lions, each symbolizing one of the tribes of Morocco. As you can see, some of the greatest architecture in Andalusia was developed across several centuries and civilizations, and the region is particularly famous for its Islamic and Moorish architecture, which includes the Alhambra complex. Andalusia saw various social and political upheavals in the 19th and 20th centuries. The region played a role in the Spanish Civil War from 1936 to 1939 and the subsequent Franco dictatorship. After the death of Franco in 1975, Spain transitioned to a democratic system. In 1982, the Spanish government was decentralized and Andalusia was granted autonomous status with its own parliament and government, giving it more control over its affairs, including education, healthcare, and regional policies. In terms of geography, Andalusia comprises just over 17% of the territory of Spain, and its capital city is Sevilla. The region has undoubtedly benefited from Spain's membership in the European Union and experienced a dramatic improvement in the standard of living. The poverty of the Andalusian countryside has been largely eliminated, and its culture flourishes alongside the benefits of improved roads, modern healthcare, and high-tech infrastructures. Andalusia has historically been an agricultural region known for its wine, brandy, and olive oil. Andalusia is second only to Catalonia for tourism, with approximately 30 million visitors each year. The principal tourist destinations in Andalusia are the Costa del Sol and the Sierra Nevada. Andalusia is one of the sunniest and warmest places in Europe, making it a prime destination for beach and sun-seeking tourists. Now that we have an introduction to the region of Andalusia, let's take a closer look at Cordoba. Cordoba was founded by the Romans in the 2nd century BCE. As a Roman colony, Cordoba prospered, becoming one of the most important cities in the Iberian Peninsula. It was known for its agriculture, mining, and production of olive oil and wine. Even today, we were told that the olive oil in Cordoba is the best in Spain, and that was from someone who doesn't live there. In driving through the countryside, we saw miles upon miles of olive trees. Cordoba, like much of the Iberian Peninsula, came under Visigothic rule. It was during this period that Christianity began to take root in the city, and several churches were constructed. However, the Visigothic rule was marked by political instability. The most transformative period in Cordoba's history began in 711 CE, when it was captured by the Muslims. Under Muslim rule, the city witnessed remarkable cultural, scientific, and architectural advancements. The Great Mosque of Cordoba, which is now called the Mezquita, was built and is a masterpiece of Islamic architecture. Cordoba was known for its libraries, scholars, and a diverse population where Muslims, Jews, and Christians all coexisted. Even with the Christian Reconquista, some elements of Islamic culture and architecture were preserved, and Cordoba continued to thrive under Christian rule. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Cordoba, like the rest of Spain, experienced political and social upheaval. The Spanish Civil War from 1936 to 1939 had a significant impact on the city. After the war, Spain transitioned to a democratic system, and Cordoba, as part of Andalusia, gained greater autonomy within the country. Today, Cordoba is a city that bears the imprints of its rich history. Its historic center, with the Mezquita as its centerpiece, is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, attracting visitors from around the world. Cordoba's history is a story of resilience, cultural exchange, and the enduring influence of its Roman, Islamic, and Christian past. We thoroughly enjoyed our time in Cordoba and would love to go back and see more of the city. We have some wonderful pictures of the Mezquita for you on our website, placespeoplepurpose.com, under the Places tab. I would encourage you to look at these, as the building is so unique and beautiful. That's all we have for today's episode of Places, People, Purpose. I hope you enjoyed learning about the amazing history, culture, and architecture of Andalusia and Cordoba. In our next episode, we're going to visit a beautiful seaside town called Tarifa, which I'm sure you will enjoy. So please join us for our next episode of Places, People, Purpose, where we create connections to our world.